Well, hey there, I'm a music teacher and also I compose music for video games, and today I'm answering up and coming composer questions live, if you couldn't tell. We're not editing that out. For how to take their music to the next level, and then also just answering any technical questions that come up along the way. We're gonna get started with Mark Cooper. Mark Cooper shared us some pieces last week. We gave him some feedback, and now we're gonna jump in and see how Mark is doing. So let's jump in and rock and roll. All right, Mark, let's check it out. Nice. Nice. Cool contrast. Beautiful. Back to our A. All right, so right there, here's what I invite you to do. This last measure, bum, and then let's see, how does your A section start? Yeah, test out going B to G. We're doing an enclosure, so do B to G, and then bring us back the A section one more time. Don't, ding, double, don't, and then like end it. So at the end of the A section, then what you'll do is just change this a little bit, or keep it exactly the same. What I invite you to do is create some variation this time in the A. Now, some things that went really well here is creating a high point here, going up to the F. Like we did not hear anything that high before, and also this leap from the E up to the F, a minor ninth, absolutely fantastic. The D up to the F, again, this leap, it's something that really is standing out in the melody and creating a whole lot of contrast. Really, really well done. Really fantastic. Add in one more A section, wrap it up, and then I take this entire melody and I'm gonna bring it into FL Studio or whatever digital audio workstation you use, and I'm gonna start adding chords, start arranging it, take the whole thing to the next level. Really awesome job. All right, let's check out the next one from Mark. Nice. Great. Nice. Whoa. Nice. Cool. Maybe this is like the full like orchestra everyone's playing now. This is really cool. All right, so yes, I see where you're going with this. So two things. Number one, right here, you have this beautiful lead up here. Dum 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 dum. I would repeat this for another 4 measures. Like repeat this an octave higher, or repeat it up a fifth, right? Take that up and then go to what you have at 21. Build the tension even more, because at 21, this might go in the direction of being like a boss theme or something like that. It could get heavy starting at 21, but build us up for 4 more measures before you drop us in at 21. And then here, where we have this 8 measures, I invite you to take this and actually build this out. So 41 through what's gonna be 45, 6, 7, 8, 41 through 48. I'd take that, I'd copy paste it, but I'd take it to the next level. I mean, and by the way, right now that might mean at the composition level, you're just gonna copy and paste it, maybe with some variations in here. You add some 16th note figures in here. Give us something more, develop it more for another 8 measures. Maybe even another, 16, 24, maybe even another 24 measures. You might be able to get another 24 measures out of this idea, just developing it and building it just with the melody alone, and then get us some type of ending. That's an idea for you. You don't have to go that way, but that's, if I was you, that's what I would do. And I'd be thinking about this headed more towards a boss theme type of a thing, or like a conflict theme. And that, yeah, this is really cool. This is good for heavy stuff. All right, awesome stuff. Let's check out the next one. All right, I'm gonna actually have you table this one for now. You're gonna come back to this one later. You have 2 already that you can take into FL Studio or whatever digital audio workstation you use and start cranking them, taking to the next level. Let's save this one for later. Take those other 2, run with them. Really awesome. Now you might be saying, okay, why? The melody starts to meander a little bit. Starting on this second page here, you know, you do a really, really fantastic job. By the way, I mean, hats off for creating a melody that's compelling with like quarter, half, whole notes, quarter, half, whole rests. Really fantastic job. Like really, really, really. This is how you're like, to be creative with constraints, amazing. Really great job. It's just, if you're not hearing what I'm hearing yet, here's what I would think you would do. Not what I think you would do. Here's my advice to you to do is go through, take both those pieces that you have almost there, take those through the full release process, get those out on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, and I mean the full 4M composition protocol. I mean, you're gonna arrange them. You've already composed them. You're in the process of composing them. You're gonna arrange them. You're gonna mix them. You're gonna master them. You're gonna release them. Like go through the entire process and then come back to this. You're gonna have such a different perspective on your composing and such a different perspective on this melody by spending that time. Just the level up that I see of all my clients once they go through the actual like full I made it, I mixed it, I mastered it, and then I got it out. The growth you're going to get as a composer going through that process, I cannot understate. So come back to this one later. Awesome. Let's check out the next one. We've got... All right, Luca says, I finished all the Tier 1 courses. I'm ready to take my music to the next level. Luca, your next step, compose 30, count them, 30 compositions that are 8-measure sketches. That's how Mark got to the place where he's at. I invite you to do the same exact thing. Create 8-measure sketches, 30 of them. You're saying, wow, 30? Yes, 30. That's how we're going to find your ideas that are absolutely fantastic. So create those 30 sketches, share them in the community, and then tell me which ones are your favorites. All right, Luca also put a track out for feedback here. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so here's a couple things you did really well, Luca. You built the track up consistently. There was always something new happening every cycle that the piece went around. Now, I want this to be a menacing, tanky constellation level, powerful and locked in. So it's more of a track of a second villain or neutral villain, because the music will be, because the villain will be all out. This guy would be attacking the hero. All right, so this if this is the introduction of the villain, this makes sense. If this is a battle, unless there's some type of slow motion or like time warp involved, the music's a little slow for a battle, my opinion. So if this is the introduction to the main villain, like there's dialogue happening over this, I think it's fantastic. It does a good job of being not friendly. Good job of being not friendly. Now, you could take the whole thing to the next level. It's a little dry. There's not too much space. It feels a little two-dimensional, the mix does. So if you haven't already gone through the Mixing and Mastering Magic course that we have here, I definitely recommend going through that. Also, experiment with delay, experiment with reverb, and you might test out layering in some more drums. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Just an idea for you. Try throwing in some stuff that's maybe a little bit heavier. It's not the main villain, secondary villain. It's still a villain. So, yeah. Those are my ideas for you to look up. All right, let's check out this next one, which is from Matthew. Okay, couldn't open the track. We'll go to the next one. Brian asks, today I've run an issue that I can't seem to figure out regarding FL Studio. Somewhere along the way of adding plugins, my sound disappeared and could no longer hear audio coming from the notes that are being played. You started after I attempted to add plugins, dredging along Google for YouTube, but nothing found seemed to help. Okay, there's many different things that this could be. This could be settings on your computer. This could be issues in FL Studio. Something odd might have happened when downloading plugins. I don't think that that's what happened, but it might have. More likely, you might have just clicked something along the way, or some setting got tripped in your computer. What I would do, which is, I know you might be like, really? I just uninstall it and reinstall it. Like FL Studio. If you can't figure it out, and like none of the symptoms you can find a Google result for, uninstall it, reinstall it, see if that fixes it. I've done that more than a couple times with my music software. All right. Matthew. Okay. Let's check this out. Magnum P. Bubs. What a fun name for a piece. All right, let's check it out. Cool. Great beat. Good drum sound too. Take it up an octave there. Nice. A B section. Matthew, excellent. All right, Matthew, you've got great ideas. This is really cool, too. A couple things that I would invite you to test out. It depends on really what effect you want. And also, here's just a big lesson for everyone. It's whenever you're sharing a piece of music for feedback, share the desired result that you want. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna give you feedback based on what I think it should have, like based on what I think the piece should be, as opposed to what you want the piece to be, right? So if you tell me you want this to feel like, you know, someone's a little tipsy, then I'd be like, yes, you nailed it. Now, if you want this to feel like someone's investigating something and they're being very thorough, I'd have different feedback for you. So step number one is, and this is for everyone, like whenever you want to get feedback on your music, make sure the other person knows what the intention is you have for that music, especially for game music, where it's like, it's serving a purpose, right? It's describing a scene, it's setting a stage, it's creating a specific emotion for a specific type of thing that's going on. Tell people what that is. So yeah, what I'd love to hear from you, dude, is this is going to be a similar note from last week with an improvement. So my similar note for you is it's still too much of the same flavor. It's better, to be clear. This is way better than last week. You made significant, substantial, and noticeable progress from my notes last week. And even more change. So we have boom, dum, 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 a dum, 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 and I'm paraphrasing. Go, boom, dum, do go, dum, boom, boom. How about do, dum, 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 do, go, dum, dum, bum, 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 bum. Go somewhere radically different. You did a good job of changing things different over the top of it, which, by the way, can work. It's a totally valid way of creating a piece of music to have one groove that's underlying everything, and then things change on top of that groove. You can hear that in plenty of OSTs. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just challenging you because based on the sample size I've heard, 2 pieces from you, you seem to find one cool idea, and then you work that idea for the whole track. What I'm telling you is find one cool idea, now force yourself to find a second cool idea in terms of what's going on in the riff. Really well done, really well built. The drums also sound fantastic. Great job with that. And yeah, to give you more specific feedback, I need to know what your intention is with this. All right, great job with Magnum P. Bubs. All right, let's check out this next one. Let's see. Dragon's Blood. All right, this is feedback from one we had last week. So the feedback last week was it's too much of the same thing. Let's see if Matthew's put in any changes here. Yep. 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 All right. Still, right here, if this is an exploring track, if there's some type of battle going on, you want the music out of the way, very effective. You want this to be a stand-alone piece of music, more variation. Literally, like, great job. By the way, you made significant changes. Now I'm saying make the changes even more. And it's not just that I'm gonna change the drums on top. It's not that I'm gonna change the drum sound. It's not that I'm gonna change the drum placement. I'm saying literally create a second part of the riff. Instead of like change that for a section of it. Add 30 seconds in or 10 seconds in where something radically different happens. And by the way, you might not like it. And that's one of the beautiful things. It's that right now we've identified the gap, right, between where you are now and where you're going to be in terms of your growth as a composer. And that gap is going to need to figure out how to add in a second thing, which means, by the way, if that's the gap, it means you might take a couple of tries before you bridge the gap. You might create something you don't like, but oh no, that's not it. At that point, don't beat yourself up. Just go, I'm gonna test again. Create another B section. Like, okay, I'm gonna create a different B section, different B section. Keep on creating B sections until you get a B section that you like. It's not always gonna be that way that you're gonna need to do so many iterations. But at the start, if the thing that's holding you back from your next step is composing B sections and being able to say, okay, I got one really cool idea, and now here is a second cool idea to add to it. If that's the thing that's holding you back, your ability to say, here's a second cool idea, attack that with no mercy, create so many different second ideas that it would be statistically improbable that you not find something that's gonna work great as a B section. So in other words, create 100 B sections, you'll find one that works, and you're not gonna need to go all the way to 100. Yeah, so look, you took the point of changing it up and you did change it up. I really wanna congratulate you on that. You did a great job. Also on the Magnum P Bus, great job changing it up. Here's the thing, we need even more change and it needs to happen at the level of the actual riff that's going on. Now you don't have to. You could release both these pieces and say this is exactly what I intend for them to be. And I support you doing that. Obviously go mix them first, right? Make sure you're really happy with them. But if this is your artistic intention, do that. But what my job is your coach, is to say, okay, here's your skill set. Now let's add in a piece. Now you don't have to do it with this piece. You might compose a brand new piece and add in a B section there. Doesn't have to be here. But your next step is to compose an A idea and a B idea that are radically different with different notes. You need different notes in whatever bass riff you do, radically different notes in an A and in a B section. Radically different. All right, awesome job. Let's keep cooking. Oh, and that's all our questions for today. Let's check the chat. I think we are good. Oh yeah, we're good on chat. All right, y'all. We done did it. I'll see you in the next one. If I can figure out how to end this. Take care and goodbye.